Hey friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we are going to be working on the Go Exploring cardigan. This one is a really super cute one. It's got a hood, it's got pockets, it's got a nice band around the whole area, it's got back goes a little bit lower in the back. It is super cute, it's got cuffs. I am in love with it and I'm excited to sew it up, so let's do it together. But before I get started, let me remind you of our fun giveaway of $50 Ellie and Mag gift certificate. And all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and comment below, and you will be entered for our giveaway. We do that giveaway monthly, so we'll have a new winner every month. And if you commented, you are entered to win. So go ahead and keep entering. And the more you enter, the more entries you have. So I already printed out my pattern and we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is work on our pockets. So we're going to grab our pocket liner and our pocket outer, and I'm using this really thin fabric because I want this cardigan to be one that's going to transition into different seasons for like a good layering piece. So I'm going to put it right sides together, the outer and the liner right on top of each other. And I am going to sew that raw edge on the top, so like the shorter raw edge. So we've got two longer, a little bit longer sides and one shorter side. That's the side that I'm sewing together. That's the top of the pocket. I am using my serger for this project, but if you don't have a serger, a stretch stitch on your sewing machine will work just fine. Any kind of stretch stitch that works best on your sewing machine for your knits, that will be perfect. I'm gonna fold it wrong sides together now, so that that seam is tucked in, and I'm going to steam the top of my pocket where I just made that seam right there. And if you want to, you can go ahead and top stitch that seam. With this fabric, I probably shouldn't top stitch because it's that like really flimsy fabric, but I am going to top stitch. I am using my cover stitch to top stitch. Oops. So it really is super easy to do it on the cover stitch. So that's what I'm using to top stitch. But if you don't have a cover stitch, a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine will work just fine. And if you don't want to top stitch the pocket, you really don't have to. That's just the front of my pocket, the top of my pocket that I'm top stitching. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and steam that. And I'm just gonna clip this pieces of thread out of the way. So I'm gonna grab my front piece, which was cut mirrored, so there's two front pieces. I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom, and at the bottom of the front I'm going to lay out, I know I probably should have steamed this fabric before I started sewing with it, or before I even cut it, because sometimes when you cut fabric that's a little bit wrinkled, it cuts differently. It like stretches once you steam it. I'm gonna place this pocket right on top of my front, and as you can see, I'm doing the back of it against the front of the top. So I'm just attaching it, putting it right on top. So the right side of this front and the right side of my pocket are facing up. And I'm going to baste this pocket all the way around. And as I can tell right now, once I steam this pocket, my fabric kind of grew a little bit. And you'll see when I lift it up that it's a little bit wider on this side right here, my pocket, than my shirt. So you want to make sure that you're basting your actual pocket to your top. And you don't have to baste the top because that's obviously where your hand is going to go in. So just baste the side, over, and up. And basting, I'm just doing a long straight stitch on my sewing machine to baste this pocket on. It really does not matter how that basting stitch looks, because it's just there. So when you go to sew your sides of your top on, your pocket gets caught in there. It doesn't like flimp down and you lose it and then you don't get it caught on your actual top. So there it is. My pocket is basted onto my front. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my back, and I did the same thing for my other pocket as well. So you'll do the same thing for your other pocket. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab, these are my sleeves. Here's my back. I'm gonna grab my back, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna place it right side up on my board where I can see my shoulder seams. Okay, and I'm gonna grab my fronts and place them right on top, right sides down, right sides together. And you want to make sure that you're matching your arm size. See how this is my arm side to the arm side of your top, so you know which side is the correct side that you're going to be attaching this to. See, that matches. So I know that this front goes on this side. Ow! And then I'm going to grab the other one, and it should fit on my other side. And again, they are right sides together. So the right side of the back is touching the right side of the front. And I'm gonna sew those shoulders together. So that shoulder seam. My shoulder seams are on, as you can see. Now I'm gonna grab it and open it up. So my neck is right here. This is my neck side, and this is my arm side, which is where my arm, my shoulder seam right here. This is where my sleeve is gonna go. I'm gonna grab one of my sleeves. And I'm gonna do this to obviously both sleeves, but I'm gonna show you on one. I'm going to make sure that my sleeve is folded in half, and I'm going to mark that top part on my sleeve. I like to notch, and notching is just giving it a little tiny tab right there where I can tell where my fabric, in case my pin moves or anything, I can tell right there where that's supposed to be, and that's right at that seam on the shoulders. We place it right there. We go down one side, matching raw edges, right sides together. So the right side of my sleeve is touching the right side of my sweater, and I'm just stretching it a little bit to fit. And then I'm going to do the same for the going down the other side, raw edges together, and I'm just stretching it a tiny bit for it to fit all the way around my raw edges. Okay, so as you can see, it's pinned on, and I'm going to go all the way around and sew that on, and I'm going to do the same thing for my other sleeve. All right, my sleeves are on. So now that my sleeves are on, they have been sewn on. Okay, I'm going to turn it right sides together, so basically inside out, and I'm going to match up all my side and my sleeve together. So I'm going to match here where my armpit seam is right here. I'm going to go all the way down my sleeve to the end of my sleeve. Okay, all the way down my raw edge, right sides together, and then I'm going to go all the way down the side. This fabric, it is so flimsy, but even though it is very flimsy, I actually really like it because it is like, it feels really good. It's soft, and it drapes so nicely on. So I like it. I like to sew with it. You're going all the way down to the edge of your pocket, and you will see that your bottom will start going kind of curved around. So you'll see that there'll be kind of like a piece where it goes straight and then it starts curving. That is a piece that's at the edge right there, and then it'll start curving. So don't go all the way around. Don't try to, you know, like tape it too. You just stop at the side seam, because this is gonna go down and stop right there, and then you're gonna meet that as you hem at the bottom. So we're just gonna go sew all this side down, and we're gonna do the same for the other side. So let's do it. All right, so those sleeves are on. Our sides are being sewn together. And now we've got almost complete cardigan. We need to go ahead and put our cuffs on. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our cuff. First, I'm gonna fold it wrong sides together, and I'm gonna give it a memory crease. So I'm folding it right down the middle, giving it that memory crease on this side, the long side. Then I'm gonna open it up and fold it right sides together and sew that raw edge together to create one cuff. All right, so now after that raw edge sewn together, I'm gonna fold it right back up, wrong sides together on that memory crease I created earlier. Okay, I'm gonna go from the serged edge, the seam, to the outer, and that's gonna be my halves, because I want to have the cuff, and I'm gonna have the sleeve as well to help me attach it. I have my one side where there's the seam, and I'm gonna go to the other side and mark it, and that's gonna be where they're gonna match up. So I'm gonna fit my cuff right over my sleeve. Whoop, sorry about that. My puppy doggy, Bo, is sitting down there, and he stretched out and knocked the camera. He is a lazy doggy. So I'm matching my seams, and then I'm going to the other side and I'm matching where I marked those half points. Okay. Then I'm gonna go ahead and sew around the right sides together touching. I'm gonna sew around the outer edge. And I'm doing this for both cuffs. I'm just going around that raw edge, sewing all the way around. After I'm done, I want to make sure that all my seams are in and my cuff is done. And I'm going to do the same for the other cuff. You can turn it around and steam it, and it'll give it a better look. So we're almost there. Now we're going to work on our hood. So I've got a hood liner and a hood outer. This is my outer. I ran out of fabric, so my liner is a different fabric, but it'll be fine. We're gonna grab our outers. We're gonna put them up, right side up. This is my right side. I'm gonna put my other piece right on top, right sides together. So we're gonna put the hood together. This is my outer. I'm gonna do the same thing to my liner. I'm gonna match up the raw edges on the outside, the crown of my hood, this area, and I'm going to sew them together. So I have a hood. It's kind of, when your fabric is very thin and flimsy and it doesn't like to do what you want it to do, I usually just kind of know at it. Like, I don't pull it, I just kind of tap it and make it do what it needs to do. Because if you start pulling it, then it'll move over here, and then it'll move over here, and I'll just get a mess. So I just kind of, tap it, move it, tap it gently, and that seems to help. We're gonna go ahead and sew around that crown. So now that my hood is all the way put together, I'll do the same thing for my liner. Now I'm gonna grab my hood, and one is gonna be right side out and the other one's gonna be inside out. And I'm gonna fit them right into each other. Right sides touching. Okay, and I'm gonna meet at the top. Actually, I'm gonna fit it right side of my outer out. Then that way I don't have to turn it or anything. So now that's wrong sides touching. Because it doesn't really matter because you're gonna put the band on top. If you were doing a hood without a like that is not gonna have the band, then you'd have to do it right sides together. But since it's not, then we'll just put it wrong sides together, because we're just gonna baste it on, because then we're gonna attach our band to trim all the way around that hood. So now I just put it wrong sides together, and I can see the right side of the outer and the liner. So here's the right side of the liner, right side of the outer are on the outside. The wrong side of the liner and the wrong side of the outer are touching. And I'm matching at the raw edges around the face. Now I'm gonna go ahead and baste those hoods together around the face. So I'm using a basting stitch to go around the whole face. All right, so now I have them basted together at the front. I'm gonna grab my cardigan. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna match those two shoulder seams and go to the back. I'm gonna notch it so I know where the back of my hood is gonna go. And I'm gonna place the back of my hood, so right side of my hood with the right side of my fabric. And I am going to pin, where did I put my tomato? Here it is. I'm going to pin right there, and then I'm gonna go all the way out to the edge of the neck, the front of the cardigan. So I'm gonna stretch lightly to the front of the cardigan. And sometimes it helps if you want to go ahead and base that front right there before you sew it together. You can go ahead and do that. So since it's gonna be stretched out a little bit, I'm gonna pull it and make sure all the raw edges are even. Then you can pin, you can baste it first if you wanted to, and then sew it on. This is up to you. So I'm going to one side, and then I'm going to do the same to the other side. Right sides together, meeting at the raw edges. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew that hood to my bodice of my cardigan, making sure all raw edges are together and they're meeting together, and you're sewing all the way that hood on. All right, so now my hood is on. As you can see it. I think that's gonna look good with the stripes hanging out right there at the top. Mustard and stripes are always a good combination. All right, so we're gonna go now, and we're gonna go ahead and actually hem our cardigan first. Now, some people, we like to know our seam allowance is 1/2 inch, but some people thought, some testers wanted to go ahead and fold it actually a whole inch instead of a 1/2 inch. They liked the way that worked better. So if you want to do whole inch instead of a 1/2 inch, you can. Just know that it'll shorten your, obviously, cardigan for a 1/2 inch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna steam, and when I get to this curve, I'm kind of pulling at it a little bit so that it gives me my curved hem right here. So I just kind of pull, and I see how it's still sticking up. I make sure that I pin it really well right there, steam it really well so that it gives me a nice curve right there when I'm gonna go ahead and hem it. Okay. Shoot. I made it a little bit too wide right here. I'm going for a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I don't measure my hems very much. I said seam allowance, I meant hem allowance. So I just kind of stretch the fabric just a little bit to manipulate it as I'm steaming. Okay. And I'm gonna pin it. This fabric is very thin, so it's like wants to do what it wants to do, but I tell it what to do. It doesn't tell me what to do. I tell it what to do. So it's gotta listen. So I am right here at this corner, pulling it a little bit as I turn and make the turn right here to go to the front. And I make sure I pin it really well right here, so then when I'm sewing it, it doesn't come out and kind of turn. It's hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and hem this. I'm using my cover stitch again to hem it. Zigzag stitch in your sewing machine will be fine. And actually, because of it being just a cardigan, not something that you're gonna have to stretch, a longer straight stitch on your sewing machine would be just fine as well. So we're gonna go ahead and hem it, and then we'll do our front, our band, and we'll be all done. All right, so now that it's hemmed, I make sure and I steam. That always makes my hem look better when I steam it. Sorry about that, doggy, stretching again. So I steamed it and it's looking good. Now we're gonna go ahead and attach our band. So we're gonna grab our band and we're gonna grab the raw edges and we're gonna put them right sides together at that raw edge, short raw edge, right sides together, and I'm gonna sew them together to make them one long band. Okay, after I do that, I'm gonna go to the ends. I'm gonna fold it right sides together, and I'm gonna sew that raw end together. See that? Right sides together, then I'm gonna turn it, flip it over, and now you have a already a straight edge. It's not raw, now it's already, because my cardigan is already hemmed, so you don't want to put a raw edge on there, so it's already done right there. So I'm going to do that on both ends. I already did it on the other end. Now I'm going to go ahead and fold my band in half, wrong sides together at the raw edge. And go all the way, steam it all the way down. All right, now that it's been folded, we're gonna go ahead and match it at the top where that half seam is. That's gonna go right at the top of our hood and is right sides together. Always losing this tomato. Okay, and we're gonna go all the way down that side until the edge. Pin it all the way down at the bottom. Make sure that it's right side. You don't want it to be turned, and then when you end up stitching it on, you stitched it on, you have like a circle, a floop right here at the middle somewhere. Don't want that. So we're going all the way down that side, attaching it to the side of our cardigan. And all the way down, matching those raw edges right sides together. right side of the cardigan to the right side of the band, the raw edge of the band, all the way down. And as you're going, you're just kind of stretching it just a little bit to fit. And really is not a whole lot of stretching, so it's not like, you know, I didn't even quarter, I just went through and pinned, just lightly stretching as I went. That's my sleeve. I want my actual side. There it is. It's best if you lay it out all the way out like I'm doing right now. That way it will, you'll know exactly how much you need to stretch it and all that stuff. Make sure all those raw edges are catching in there. If you have flimsy fabric like mine, you have to really play with it. Sometimes when you use the most stubborn fabrics are the ones that look the best. All right, so I'm going to finish up pinning all this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sew those raw edges together, and we will be done. All right, all pinned. I'm gonna start at one end and go all the way around and sew it. All right, once it's all sewn on, you can go ahead and go back and steam that. If you want to top stitch that seam, you can. You're more than welcome to top stitch it. You can go ahead and remove all those basting stitches that you did earlier, and just pull them out. And then you have, at the end, you have this nice tail. You're gonna, how I get rid of them is I pull it right over my seam and top of my seam, and I use a zigzag stitch. I'm gonna use a different color thread so you can see it. I do a zigzag stitch right over that seam. I'm gonna clip the corners, and it gets tucked right in there. I didn't do a very good zigzag stitch. I will do a little bit more right there, but as you can tell, it's all gone. All you can see now is those basting stitches that I still have to pull out. So I will do that on both sides, and our cardigan is finished. I hope you enjoyed this sewing tutorial. Sorry, I'm over here trying to put it on. I hope you enjoyed this sewing tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions. Post them below and I'll try to get back to them. Comment, like, share. Come find us on Instagram or Facebook so you can share your makes with us. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I love seeing what you make, so come share it with us. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed so you can be a winner of our $50 giveaway and you can earn some patterns. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. So cute.